Hello everyone, welcome back to the Yours, Mine, Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. I'm buzzing to finally have him in. I've got Ashley Bays, everyone, goalkeeper coach at Wimbledon.
You know, I was always a number one until sort of towards the end of my career. Became a number two, but I sort of understood the role because I was going into the coaching role. We say to the goalies, I've been through what you've been through, so you can lean on me on and off the pitch. Dave Seaman was the calming presence, so I tried to take that, but then Schmeichel's style was on another scale.
I'm going to go through a few names here, right, of goalkeepers you worked with. Kel Roos, James Shea, George Long, Tom King, Aaron Ramsdale. Currently got Owen Goodman. There's loads more.
Yeah, I love what I do and give them that energy and that enthusiasm and help them along the way in their career. I've got their back. They need to know that, and I think that's how you create that bond and that trust. I hate dirty gloves. I hate dirty boots. I hate dirty kit.
Yeah.
If you step out, well, it don't happen. Yeah. That's one of my rules.
Yeah.
I come alive on the grass and I'll give them every ounce. And that's what I demand of my goalies. Yeah. Every single one that I've had in the building.
What a save from Mark Howard.
Hey there, I'm Mark Howard, professional goalkeeper and the host of the Yours, Mine, Away podcast. Today I'm thrilled to share my secret with you. When I got my hands on active collagen, it was an absolute game changer for me. As football players, we all want to train hard, play harder and recover faster. Since rupturing my Achilles 6 years ago, I've relied on collagen supplements to help me remain injury-free. After trying various brands, I found my perfect match with UPerform. Packed with 2 unique bioactive collagen peptides, it's the UK's #1 choice for both prehab and rehab. Say goodbye to injury worries and hello to enhanced performance. Collagen is key for your muscles, your tendons and ligaments. But here's the kicker, as we age, we lose it. UPerform's active collagen doesn't just replenish, it turbocharges your natural collagen production. Simply take 1 gel a day, it really is that simple. And for the result, feel unbeatable and keep playing your best game on and off the pitch. I wouldn't recommend anything that I don't believe in. UPerform is the real deal. And just for you, they're offering an exclusive saving. Click the link in the description below and use code MARK20 at checkout. Join professional footballers all over the world that now take active collagen to make injuries a thing of the past and recover faster. Grab yours now and transform your game. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Yours, Mine, Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. I've got a guest in today that more people speak about than they do about myself on here. I'm buzzing to finally have him in. I've got Ashley Bays, everyone, goalkeeper coach at Wimbledon. The real Wimbledon, not the franchise, as you're going to call it. Yeah. No, obviously, Bays, I'm absolutely buzzing to have you in, mate.
Yeah, delighted to be here, finally.
The most enthusiastic man in goalkeeping, I think.
I think you've got to be, mate. Loving my job, so yeah.
Yeah, every guest that I've had on, every one of them has kind of given you a mention. I had Morrow on recently, Aaron Ramsdale, Tom King. Everyone speaks about you so highly.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, hopefully it's all good, which it probably is. But yeah, I love what I do and give them that energy and that enthusiasm and help them along the way in their career.
Yeah, I suppose having the experience of playing over 600 games yourself does help.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been through every scenario they would have gone through. So yeah, I've stood in that goal, stood in that tunnel. I know what it means. So I'd like to think that a little bit of me can help them along the way. So yeah.
Do you think that's what's helped you over the last 12 years of your coaching career, is the experience that you've had across a variety of levels, let's say?
Yeah, I think so. It has helped. Like you say, I've played at all different levels. I was always a #1 until sort of towards the end of my career. Became a number two, but I sort of understood the role because I was going into the coaching role. But I'd like to think so, and that's on and off the pitch. So I've been through all the scenarios that every goal. I always say to the goalies, I've been through what you've been through, so you can lean on me on and off the pitch. Yeah,
it comes better. Me and Aidan Davidson, our goalie coach at Wrexham, we always talk about this and talking to younger goalkeepers. Sometimes it's better off someone that's been through that or someone that's lived through those experiences. It's a different approach, isn't it, than a manufactured goalkeeper coach that's been made in a factory, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can relate to it better. That's not to say, though, the coaches that are about that haven't played at sort of a good level are not good. It's just you've been in them situations, whether they made a mistake, whether they're on a high, whether they're on a low. Yep. You can relate to all that.
Yeah, you can feel what they're feeling.
Yeah, I try and bring that into my coaching. Yeah. And I think I felt once I retired from playing properly, which was at 42, I was sort of, Neil Ardley brought me in as player coach. And for 2 years I did that role, but I struggle with it because you've still got the competitive edge in you, but you also you're coaching goalkeepers and you don't, although I knew the role number 2, stroke number 3 at the time, I thought once I stopped playing and I called it a day, I felt that I became a better coach over the years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that transition period, I'm going to get into that later on. But it obviously, like I was saying, the amount of goalkeepers that speak so highly of you and the recruitment process that you've had over the last 12 years, you've managed to recruit some unbelievable goalkeepers and help them on their journeys. Obviously, Rambo's one of the biggest ones that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, they all credit you of giving them that little bit of extra. I think it's just your passion, your drive, the way you talk about the energy.
Yeah,
and,
I love it.
Yeah, you do.
I love it. I love everything about goalkeeping, from the kit to gloves, as you will know, to getting on. I just love being on the grass.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I can do all the stuff in the office. I can do all the clipping, the analysis work. You've got to do that. That's part of your job, to give them the detail of what they're going to face. But I come alive on the grass, and I'll give them every ounce. And that's what I demand of my goalies. Yeah. Every single one that I've had in the building, I demand hard work at the right times. We can have fun along the way, but it's about improving them, and developing them.
Yeah. Right, okay. Before we kick this off, I'm going to do a couple of quick fire ones then, right? The geeky goalkeeper stuff. Favourite goalkeeper colour kit?
Green.
Yeah, has to be green. School green.
Old school, all day long for me.
Yeah, you blend in as well. I don't think people actually realise that, like the fluorescent colours, they stand out more. So strikers see you. The green, you just blend in, don't you?
Yeah. We've got a new one at Wimbledon this year, which I quite like. It's green and it's nice.
Yeah, proper kit, isn't it?
Yeah, all green.
Right, play it short, kick it long.
Long. All day, although obviously the game's evolved so much now. You've got to coach it. Your goalies have got to be able to do it. But I mean, when I was playing, it was like I was a decent distributor of the ball, but I don't think I could do it now.
Yeah.
I can kick
Can't
it like
score
yourself.
from 80 yards away, can you?
Oh, mate, it's
kick
like
a mile, isn't it?
It's like I used to like as far as you can kick it. So yeah, long all day for me.
Nice. Who's your favourite ever goalkeeper?
I've got a few.
Yeah, I bet.
So when I was a youngster, it was always Peter Shilton and Ray Clements.
Of course, Ray Clements.
Yeah, great goalies. Shilts and Clem. And then a sort of David Seaman and Peter Schmeichel.
Of course, yeah.
So what I tried to do was, so Shilts and Clements were like, and I remember this again, going geeky on the gloves. I remember the red and the blue Sondico gloves, no straps, just slip them on and get on with it. So I always remember that. And then Dave Seaman and Schmeichel. So Dave Seaman was the calming presence. So I tried to take that. But then Schmeichel style was on another scale.
It's different than what we'd ever seen, really.
Yeah. And then, because of my size, I'm 6'1", 6'1.5". When I had my studs on, I said 6'2". Would be Shay Given and Neville Southall.
Yeah, nice. Of course. Yeah.
Sort of their
more
frame,
relatable,
their frame, their build, how they played the game. So, so they'll be the
I always say that to people now that ask me for the biggest tips, and I always say, try and match yourself up to someone and follow their attributes.
Absolutely.
If you're going to be 6'6" and built like a stick, you may as well follow like someone that's tall and skinny. Yeah. There's no point looking at Shay Given going, I want to be like him. But if you're a small goalkeeper, you may as well follow a Lloris and be fast across your line and just go with your traits that would suit somebody else.
I like watching all. Yeah. I like watching all level goalkeepers. I just love, because you can pick things up in your coaching as well, which is nice. So they'll be the ones.
Who's the best goalkeeper in the world right now?
A tough one. I always have this conversation. The complete package at the minute, right now, I'd say Edison.
Edison, yeah.
Edison, but Alisson's up there.
Yeah. It's so tough to choose between the two.
It is. Because they've got everything.
Everything, yeah.
I know everyone, but first and foremost, they both can keep the ball out of the net. But their distribution's on levels and levels.
It's the calmness doing it as well.
Yeah.
They never look rushed.
No, never. It's just like, I was watching Edison the other day, and it was on Match of the Day on Saturday night, and they've done a thing on him like with his distribution. And you don't actually realise how much he does do it. Like, you know what I mean? When he's getting pressed, he knows when to go, when to play it short, when to go long, hit behind. I mean, he sets Haaland up all the time. Yeah. It's ridiculous, but they would probably be the two. Although you could go on.
Yeah. Edison, for me, I reckon when we get to the end of his career and you'll look back at the amount of assists that he had, not just obviously the games that he played and clean sheets, but he's going to rack up 50 to 100 assists, and you'll be like, It'll be a new stat, it'll be a new bracket for goalkeepers, and it would have been because of him.
Yeah, it's crazy. But there's a top level. I mean, like I say, the game's evolving all the time. The goalkeeping position's evolving all the time.
Yeah. Right, and then last question. Last minute penalty save to win the game, or you can score the winner.
I've lucky enough scored penalty.
I'm going to talk about that. I can't wait to talk about this.
And I've been lucky enough to save penalty in the last minute. So I would say penalty me.
Yeah.
I know you'd want to score.
I want to score a goal. I haven't scored. You've scored, so it's a different question.
I've scored penalty, yeah.
Well, you ain't scored the penalty.
I know, I've scored the rebound.
That's unreal.
Penalty for me. Yeah, all day long.
Right, from the very beginning then, why goalkeeping? Why are you a goalkeeper?
I just love diving around in the mud. Loved it.
Just go back to that all the time. Isn't it?
I never really played out pitch. I did for a little bit, but from 7 or 8 years old, joined my first junior club, and I just loved it, everything about it. Putting the gloves on, diving in the mud,
Special,
getting your kit, getting told off, getting your kit dirty. Just love. Even now, I try and still get dirty.
Yeah, that's the best.
It's a buzz, isn't it?
See, I've said this before, but like I used to try and get as dirty as possible, so I'd sit in the boot on the way home, and like these things were illegal back then, and you'd be like, be well proud of yourself.
Yeah, no, loved it. Loved everything about it, diving around in the mud.
Yeah, so going from a boys' club then, when did you start to realise that, I'm not bad at this?
I think when I got picked, like then it was like your district and your county, and I got picked from a district side, under 14s, under 15s, under 14s, something like that. And then I got picked from my county side. And then when you get into the county side, obviously scouts
start turning up, don't they?
And I started getting trials at clubs, and I was like, ooh, because I was half decent at rugby as well. Like at school, I played county level at rugby, and then I had to make a decision, and football was for me all the time.
Yeah.
So I around then when I getting picked for the county and district teams, and then I started getting trials at clubs, and then it went from there really.
Yeah. So then obviously you'd done your spells on trials at clubs and that, and then you ended up signing down for Brentford, didn't you?
Brentford.
Yeah.
So I'm from Lincoln, so I left school straight away. But the good thing about Brentford was I was going down a year before I left every Thursday. So I'd finish school Thursday, I'd train with Brentford on Friday, play for their under-18s at 15 in the South East Counties League, go home Sunday, back to school, repeat it for a year.
Stopping in digs as well?
Yeah, stopped with a lovely family across the road from the ground. Yeah, they looked after me. And then I joined the following year, left home. Best thing I ever did. Like it's like then the club were good because obviously leaving home, you get homesick and this, that and the other, but they stopped me going home, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Was it, yeah?
Yeah, loved it. Loved
it being in and around London at that age.
It. Yeah. Loved everything about it. And not to start with, coming from Lincoln, where it's quiet, and then come to London. But I love London now. Yeah. I love it.
Proper home for you now.
Yeah, it's my home. Well, I've been here longer than I've been in Lincoln, so all my family's here now, so yeah.
Even at Brentford though, you was there for a long time really, and like worked your way through. You firmly established yourself like within the first team. Football was slightly different back then though, weren't it? That they would push through the younger ones a lot quicker, especially a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
To be in amongst it.
I worked with some good goalies. I mean, when I first went there, so it was Colin Lee, Steve Perriman, Phil Alder. They were there. Colin Lee was my youth team manager. Steve Perriman was the first team. Phil Alder was the assistant manager. And then I ended up doing 2 years, as it was YTS in the days, not scholarship. And then they signed me pro on a 2-year pro deal. And then I became like the young pro. I'd like, don't even know if you call it a loan then, but it was like they loaned me out to non-league Kingsbury Town.
Just go and get your game somewhere.
Get your game time, get beat up, train with the first team. I think if I can remember, Gary Phillips was the first team goalie at the time. Then Tony Parks, who's a good friend of mine now, I still speak to.
Parksy, legend.
Yeah, Parksy. He came. Then Graham Benstead. And then I became like, sort of, we know when you come through when you're a youngster, you sort of made me debut at 17, loved it.
Yeah.
Had some ups and downs in the game, but like got a few games. I think I ended up playing cup games as a young lad. Then a lot of lone goalies come in, but learnt a lot from them. Perry Suckling was another one, came in on loan. Keith Brannigan was another one. Perry Digweed. Like all these old goalies were coming in on loan, and I was learning so much off all of them. I was like a sponge at that age. And then as I say, I got games and got a taste for first team football. Ended up getting an England cap.
Yeah,
I was like number 2 to Ian Walker.
That's unreal, isn't it?
Unbelievable. 3 years, like rooming with him, everything. What a guy! Like he was naturally unbelievable.
Yep.
And then it got to 21, and I sort of got to the end of my contract. Probably could have stayed, but you're always seen as that young goalie, and I needed to break
Take it
out
for granted
and sort of
a little bit, didn't you?
Made myself a career.
Yeah.
I ended up going to Torquay.
Yeah, moved southwest, didn't
Moved southwest.
Yeah.
I had 3 years there.
Yeah.
Loved every minute of it.
Played a lot of games as well.
Played a lot of games. Came in number 1 at 21.
Yeah.
And then moved from there to their rivals Exeter.
Did you get much stick for that?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
Loved it though.
Good.
Peter Fox was a manager at the time with Noel Blake.
Yeah.
Foxy being a goalkeeper, he signed me, so I felt very excited about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it went from there really.
Even back then, you wouldn't have had a lot of goalkeeping coaches or trainers though.
No. The first time, my first ever goalie coach was at Brentford, and it was Alex Welsh.
Alex Welsh, Welshie, a legend.
Yeah, Welshie. So there was him and another fella called Mick Payne.
Yeah.
Who took me to Bob Wilson's goalkeeping school. And I loved it.
It's unreal, isn't it?
Bob was like big college in Hertfordshire. It was like loads of goalies. So the club, we weren't getting any goalie coaching. I was getting a day here and a day there with Alex, with Parksy. But like they sent me there. I loved everything about it. Came back. Al came in and Alex came in as our goalie coach. And then from there, when he left, God bless his soul, Gordon Phillips. He came in and he took us when it was me and Graham Benstead.
Yeah.
But at the time, no, you were self-taught.
Yeah.
I'd sponge off the senior goalies. I used to drive
yeah.
Parksy mental and Benno, give me your gloves. I loved everything about it. But they were great with me.
Just asking them questions.
Yeah,
all the time.
Like they were brilliant with me. They were brilliant with me. I couldn't thank them enough. So yeah.
So even then, when you go to Exeter and you play for a manager that used to be a goalie, you must have just felt that like he's got me back here.
Yeah, but but he was sort of like Foxy was good. He'd had a good career, and he was still sort of having to keep his eye in. So he was like the number 2 to me. So yeah, I would sponge. He was hard on me, but,
was he,
but yeah, because I think he played the game and he knew it. He toughened me up. Because when I first went, I didn't have a great start coming from their rivals and that. But then I just flourished after that.
You end up playing a lot of games for them as well.
Yeah,
though,
but I always wanted to play.
Yep.
Always wanted to play.
I had that hunger to just.
Yeah, just wanted to play, and then I went from there to Orient.
Yep.
And then
first ever player from Exeter to go on a Bosman as well. I read this and I was
done
like,
your homework, haven't you?
have I? I was like, that's some stat that. I bet you got stick for that as well. Because at that time, if you were worth a fee, clubs needed the money, didn't they?
And it was strange because Exeter offered me a new deal.
Yeah.
I'd got player of the year. So I was like, I've had a decent season here. I was like, I'm either going to stay here and sign again. And funnily enough, Kevin Hodges took over at Plymouth and wanted me to go there.
Oh, is it? Ooh.
But yeah, I'm thinking if I go there, like I'm pretty much going to be staying down that way. And then Tommy Taylor come in for me at Orient.
Yeah.
And I was like, he offered me a 3-year deal, get back south. Mrs. was from London. Yeah, loved it.
Couldn't say no to going back to
No,
London
I couldn't
as
say
well.
no. But I went in there with Scott Barrett, and I'm like, Scotty Barrett was coming towards the end of his career. But I went in and I couldn't get in straight away. I started, then I didn't start, and me and him were chomping and changing, and he then became my goalie coach. He was brilliant.
Was
Scotty.
he? Yeah.
Yeah, call him Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Because he held me, he wasn't too fussed about playing, but when he needed to, he could play.
Yeah.
And he became my coach. He really helped me. And then
Do you reckon he took you under his wing at that point then? Because if that's his first goalkeeping coach's job, he would naturally attach himself to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he was great. 'Cause he went from playing, and I came in, and I could sense it. Like when I first went in, I was like, I'm coming here to play, and I'm thinking he's like still got it. So he knew what he needed.
Yeah.
His knees weren't great, but he knew what he needed. He trained every day, and he loved a cup of tea and a digested biscuit. He said that's what kept him going.
Yeah.
So I was like. And then he transitioned into like the number 2 and became the coach, and he was great. Dino, love him, loved him. He helped me loads. So yeah.
So at the end of your Orient spell, then obviously you went to the League of Ireland.
Yeah.
Like even like that in itself is a whole new challenge.
Well, I was out of contract. I'd been out a while. I'd had a shoulder injury, and funny enough, like Cat was playing, Glenn Morris, who you've had on here.
Yeah.
He got in and he was doing well, like and. My contract come up, new manager took over, and basically it was like, we're not going to renew your contract. So I was like, fair enough. Like I've had a good 3 years here. Managers change, everything. You're going in a different direction. I get that, but it was tough. So I was like, first time, I'm like, oh no. Well, I think I had it a little bit when I went talkie, but this was first time proper. So I was like, okay. And I had a fair few offers, bits and pieces here, there and everywhere. And then my old manager from Torquay, Don O'Riordan, top man as well, he was out in Ireland, but he knew Stephen Kenny, who's the Ireland manager. He was manager of Bohemians. So he phoned me up, he said, how do you fancy like coming out to Ireland? And I was like, I'd never been out there for football or anything like that. So I said, I'm not sure. Like,
Guinness sounds great. Like.
Guinness is unbelievable. Different level out there. That's another story. So I ended up going out there for like a week to have a look round, train. Goalie coach out there was Dermot O'Leary. He was brilliant. Like, so I went out there, trained with him. I knew a few of the boys out there. I played with at Orient and Exeter. So I went out there, enjoyed it. And
won the league.
Yeah, and so then I signed and it just was like, wow. Dublin derbies, unbelievable. Unbelievable, the atmospheres. So you used to play Thursday, Friday or Saturday or Sunday nights.
Yeah.
And the Dublin derbies, so you'd play like, at the time it was St Pat's, Shamrock Rovers, Shelbourne, and then you'd go up north and you'd play Derry City and teams like that, some big teams. I got to be honest, I didn't realise the level until I went out there. It's decent. I'd say it's League 2, National League level. Yeah. With some good players. But the
atmosphere and the fight in the games as well.
Unreal.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable. So we used to play at Dalymount Park, Bohemians. It was rocking every Friday night under the lights.
Must have been incredible then at the end of that season winning the league.
Oh, it was like, so when we won it, we played Shells at Tolka Park, I think it was. I'm sure their ground's called Tolka Park. Excuse me if I got it wrong. And we won 1-0 to win the league, and I made this saving me life. Like, it was like Gordon Banks, it's Chris. Like, it was unreal, and that we partied for weeks on end. Yeah. It was unbelievable. But I'd underestimate him before I went out there.
Yeah.
But good experience. I had 2 years left. I'd done a year. Family stayed in England. That was tough. Kids were young then. So I came to agreement with the club, and I came back to England time for Woking on deadline day.
Yeah.
But yeah, loved it out there.
That must have been tough then. Obviously, the family ties is the biggest thing, and obviously, that's the hardest thing to get around, and it's the be all and end all, really. Like,
they were at the age of, I think my girls were 3 and 5 at the time. Obviously, Mrs. stayed as well. They've grown up now. Yeah. That was probably the hardest thing. They was never going to move out because they're settled in schools and this, that, and the other, and you've got to have that stability. But I got home every 4 or 5 weeks. Club were great, give me 3 days off, and then I'll be back again. So it's not like it was miles away.
Yeah.
It's just, jump on a plane and I was home within the hour.
Yeah. So not bad, is it?
Yeah, no, it was good. Loved it out there. People were great to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, looked after me on and off the pitch. Made some good friends. Still speak to a few now.
Yeah, and then obviously, like you're saying, you came back to Woking, and you'd done other spells. Obviously, like you're saying, you moved around quite a bit after that, really, didn't you?
Yeah, call me the journeyman. Most clubs I played for, I played for like 3 years. I did 3 years, and then obviously went into the non-league, and I started still racking up the games. I just wanted to play. Yeah, could have gone to a couple of league clubs, but it was like 1/2, and I'm like, I'm not ready to. Yeah. I'm not ready yet.
Just still absolute chase every game, didn't you?
Yeah, loved it. Loved everything about it.
It's full credit because you end up playing a lot of games. You've played over 600. I think it's like 580 league starts. And you've played obviously loads more cup games as well.
Yeah. No, and then obviously transition into what I'm doing now.
Yeah. When did that transition start to come about? Stevenage.
I was under Graham Wesley. I was with Chris Day, and I just couldn't get him out of the team. I started at Stevenage. It was like new team put together, first 5 games. I'm like, shipping goals, like left, right and centre. Chris Day comes in, does well. Got all my hand up. And I mean, he was 4 years younger than me. So we got on great though, trained well together. We had a Turkish goalkeeping coach called Ali, who to this day was at Peterborough now, doing the academy.
Is he still going?
Oh yeah,
I've heard stories about him at Preston, just driving Wesley everywhere.
Oh yeah, top man now. Oh, He loved the gaffer, like GW. He loved him, looked after him, give him his coffee every day and all that. But he worked hard.
Did he? Yeah.
I loved it. So I loved the hard work, but I kept Daisy on his toes every day. Pushed him every day, and I felt that I was pushing him every day. I got the best out of Daisy. So it was sort of then really. I was doing bits and pieces away from the club, And then I was like, I had not so much a coach school, but I'd do all the local football clubs and here, there and everyone doing bits of coaching, and I was getting a taste for it. So it was sort of, then, and then I went from Stevenage, and that's when I became a goalie coach at Aldershot.
Yep.
But I still wanted to play.
Yeah.
So I left.
When I was reading this bit, I was like, this is unreal, this.
So I became, Dean Olsworth was the manager at Aldershot.
Yep.
And he was looking for a goalie coach, but I said, I could play for you as well. But he'd already had his goalies. He had Jamie Young at the time. And Ross Warner went in there, who I know well, who I took to Wimbledon with me. Anyway, I went in there. So basically, it was a part-time role, but I did it full-time and played down the road at Basingstoke.
At Basingstoke, yeah.
At 40. I loved it.
Yeah.
So I'd train like another good goalie coach of mine, Colin Barnes, who's not just coached me, he's mentored me and my coaching and everything. Like he was my goalie coach. So he was my goalie coach at Grays when I was at Grays. And then he was at Basingstoke, and he said, why don't you, if you still want to play, like, come and play down the road at Basingstoke. You're down the road at Aldershot. Although I didn't live anywhere near there.
Yeah.
I could do both. So basically, I went in at Aldershot. I'd train once. I'd tick over at Aldershot, join in, and then I'd do every Thursday night with Barnesy at Basingstoke for an hour under the lights. Keep my eye in. Felt great.
Yeah.
Felt as fit as I've ever felt.
You was playing, obviously, for Basingstoke on a Saturday, but working the other goalkeepers at Aldershot.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was
Aldershot.
strange. But any time I could, I'd get to the game. So if I had training and they were playing, so say I had to go in on Tuesday or a Saturday or however it worked, I'd be there. But yeah, that was the only thing I wasn't there. That's how it's changed. I mean, imagine now that I'm a goalie coach at a game.
It'd be crazy, that,
Yeah. But I did that.
Even telling your missus which gear you need for each night and that'd have been a nightmare. No, I can't wear that tracksuit tonight.
Oh, I was hardly at home. But yeah, I loved it. I loved playing.
Yeah.
And then I did that for 2 years.
Yeah.
And thoroughly enjoyed it. And then the role came up at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Neil Ardley was looking for a new goalie coach to be player coach.
Yep.
Like number 2, and then it just went from there.
Yeah.
When I met him,
because you're at 40 at this point, but you
yeah,
still
I had nothing in mind.
Yeah.
That he had to tell me, listen, this is because I was thinking, right, I'm at Basingstoke, no disrespect, I got a chance to get in the league as a goalie coach, so I got to take it.
Yep.
But on a lot less money.
Yeah.
But so that's what I was doing. I was doing part-time Aldershot, playing for Basingstoke, put them together. I had all my other bits and pieces going on. It was like. It was like
Del Boy stuff.
Yeah, 24/7. I was in coaching.
Yeah.
I was coaching here. I was coaching there. Everyone would go like, it was brilliant. But I loved that because then it made me appreciate what I've got now.
Yep.
In terms of the structure I've got in what I do. So yeah, went in at Wimbledon, did the player coach role for 2 years, and then like I say to you, got to 42 and sort of a few niggles here and there. It's taken me weeks to get over. Yeah. After joining in, and I've done it ever since.
Yeah. Right. Before we carry on with the Wimbledon stuff and the keepers you've worked with, we've got a couple
for hours.
A little quiz here. Huge shout out to Forged Irish Stout for being part of this podcast. Listen to that beauty. An unbelievably smooth, creamy stout by Conor McGregor, the UFC legend. Not here to take part, but here to take over. Forged Irish Stout is on a mission to become the biggest Irish stout. Conor McGregor has taken over the whiskey game. Now he's about to take over the stout game. Me and my guests will be enjoying a few cans in the next few episodes. If you fancy checking it out too, make sure you hit the description below and find out where you can get Forged Irish Stout. Let's get back to the podcast. Right, before we carry on with the Wimbledon stuff and the keepers you've worked with, we've got
for hours.
a little quiz here. It's not a quiz. Right, it's just a game of higher or lower. Premier League appearances, right?
Yeah.
So Aurelio Gomez made 195 Premier League appearances. Higher or lower, Ali Al-Habsi?
Lower.
Yeah, lower, 111. Higher or lower, Peter Cech than 111.
What, Peter
Cech, yeah.
Higher.
Yeah, 443.
Yeah, all day long, sorry.
This is where it gets tough now, right? So 443, higher or lower, Brad Friedel?
Brad Friedel all day. Higher.
Higher, 450.
Yeah.
Yeah. Higher or lower, David Seaman?
Higher.
Lower.
Oh, lower. I knew it.
Lower. 344.
Wow. But they've all...
Unbelievable careers this in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And then one more, right? Higher or lower than David Seaman, Hugo Lloris?
Higher.
Higher, yeah. 361.
Yeah, he was a mainstay for 10 years, wasn't he?
for a long time, weren't he?
Yeah. Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play. I used to go, because of Parks here, I used to go to Tottenham.
A lot of Tottenham games.
A lot, just watch, sit behind the goal.
Yeah.
Hugo Lloris, when he first came in, oh, wow. Speed. And
The speed across goal.
But he was your sweeper keeper. You know, when it first, sweeper keeper, he played that role so good.
Yeah.
When he first came in.
His first few years he played really high, didn't he? He played like Neuer high, didn't he?
Yeah.
A class, mate. What a keeper. I'm a Tottenham fan, so I loved watching him when he started coming through. Yeah, brilliant. So then, obviously, back to Wimbledon then. Like I said, you've been there 12 years. You've worked with a whole host of goalkeepers. And whether they're young goalkeepers or experienced lone goalkeepers, how involved in the recruitment are you? Yeah,
massively. But pretty much all of them.
Yep.
And I think that comes from every manager that's been there has put their trust in me.
Good.
To do it. Obviously, we're all sat in on it, and you have your lists, and you do your footage, and you show, and you deliver. You go and watch. You got to do your own work. It don't just come together. This summer was good because I did it with, obviously, our gaffer Johnny Jackson, our assistant manager Terry Skiverton. We're all in it together with our head of recruitment, Craig Cope. So he'd have a list. I mean, they get out to a lot of games. They'd flag up goalies. I'd go and have a look at them. And we'd come together and you end up making a group decision. But ultimately, like, a gaffer would always put his trust in me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing.
Yep.
And that's the same when you're doing your work. You trust what you do.
I've always wanted to know this from a goalkeeper coach point of view, but when you're looking at the goalkeepers, are you looking for the goalkeeper that you like the look of, or are you going on a brief, they want their goalkeeper to play like this?
I know what so for argument's sake, I know what our gaffer needs now.
Yeah.
So I've got to look at that.
Yep.
But obviously I know what type of goalkeeper I like.
Yep.
But they got to fit into what the team
philosophy of the club and everything
100%. And when I meet them, so you don't just go. You meet up with them. You have conversations with them, and you tell them. You sort of speak to them. This is my philosophy. This is how I work. This is what a week would look like. This is how we set up. And you just go into it, and then you sort of you start getting that trust.
Yeah.
And that's how the honesty builds up and the bond really.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to go through a few names here, right, of goalkeepers you worked with. Kel Roos, James Shea, George Long, Tom King, Aaron Ramsdale. Currently got Owen Goodman. There's loads more, obviously. Taz, Dave, Bass, Trot. Like, there's loads, isn't there? But, like, a lot of them have gone on to have really good careers. It must be like a credit to yourself when you look at them now, and like a Rambo and even Kingy at Wolves, and like these players playing at top levels or being involved at that level, that you've been a part of their journey. Yeah,
I love it. Take great pride in it. And you know, they've all worked with other goalie coaches. It's not just me. But when they've come into Wimbledon and they've come into my structure and our structure as a club, I invest in them, but I also get them into invest in me.
Yep.
So, like, that's on and off the pitch. And then you create that bond, that trust, and then you can have honest conversations. And I'll always give them everything.
Yep.
But I expect it back.
Yeah.
I expect commitment. I expect hard work. I expect dedication. I expect open conversations, good or bad.
But I think that's obviously a full credit to you putting your cards on the table, and then they then have the choice then whether to buy into it or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because of your energy and your enthusiasm, it's hard not to be receptive of that. I'm sat across the room and I'm like, oh my God, like,
you want to get out and get the clubs on.
I want to dive around.
That's me every day. I love goalkeeping. I love what I do. I've only ever been in the game.
Yeah.
I've been in the game 28, 30 years. That's all I've ever done.
Yeah.
I've never done anything else. So why wouldn't you want to do that?
Yeah.
And I don't get up. There's not a day I get up and I go, I love it.
Yeah.
I love preparing. I love designing sessions. I love designing new sessions. I like a challenge. I like to be challenged from the goalies as much as me challenging them. And my biggest thing is every day we go in, we have a smile on our face, we work hard and we enjoy it. And if you can do that, I believe you get your success on the pitch on a Saturday.
Yeah. I want to talk to you then about the structure. You've mentioned it then, but the structure of your week. What does your working week look like? Because obviously, a goalkeeper that's playing doesn't realise the work that you put in to subliminally hide the right session in that week.
So for a typical week, I try not to go on too long, but
it's interesting. It's interesting to know.
So after a game on a Saturday, I get up on a Sunday. have a quick look. So say it's OG playing in a minute, so we'll go off OG. So have a look at his clips. I'll have a debrief with him. Just have a quick conversation with him. But I'll also do that with Wardy, who's the number 2, to make sure he's all right. So I always make sure they're mentally and physically okay. Then I'll say to them the week ahead, and then we'll touch base on Monday. We'll do their clips. So Sunday I just sort of organise my week.
Yes.
So the clips will all be ready. I work closely with our analyst Tom Dawes, who helps me a lot with that. The structure for the week. So obviously, if OG's playing, it's important Wardy gets a top up on a Monday. We'll do a technical day on a Monday. Just loads of contact on the ball. I try and get in on a Monday 100 contacts on the ball. That's not just volleys. That's just total session. Everything. Tuesday will be our hard day of the week. So we'll go more physical, more demanding, high intensity. Wednesday off, so that'll be their recovery day. Thursday I'll work on opposition, but I always try and get crossing in. So crosses, cutbacks, and
because of the loading aspect of it.
So, for instance, we played the franchise last week. They like deep line crosses and they like lots of cutbacks, slides in behind. So I peppered them on lots and lots of that. Repetition. And they go into the game. Friday will be a match prep. It'll be 75 contacts of the ball. And then they're good to go on a Saturday. So it sounds... but it's the detail of what you go into.
Because that's always been the hardest thing is you watch the clips on a Sunday of what they've possibly done right and wrong. When it's hard to then get in how to fix those problems while you're looking ahead to the next Saturday.
So we'll come in first thing on a Monday after a Saturday game and I'll sit them down. The starting goalie will come in on his own. We also have goalkeeping group meetings and opposition goalie meetings. And I'll go, how do you feel? I won't always lead it. I want he's a young goalkeeper, OG.
It's an open platform,
I want him to come out like Wardy's more experienced, so he's still on the game, and I'll get his input as well, which is good. And sort of have them open conversations. And then they trust you, and then you can be honest with them, and I'll sort of like give them a little pointers here and there. I'm saying like your distribution's getting better, but there was 2 that I think you could have hit flatter into that area. Show him as an example. You know, deep cross at the back post. Could you come it? Was your starting position? You know, you just try and give them little bits of
course,
detail of what.
You're also asking questions of them to see if they've got the right answers as well, because you want them to be. I don't want them to sit there. I don't want them to sit there and just agree with what I'm saying. So I go, right, the floor's yours. Go on, talk to me. What do you
talk
think?
me through your clips and. They're really good at it. Excuse me. Yeah, they're really good at it. So I'll try and do that. And with the crossing, like crossing will be mixed up in a session. So if you did crossing for say 45 to 50 minutes, they're going to get bored. So you try and just add layers to it as you're going along in the session. But my biggest thing through the week is I always say to them, I'll try and give you everything you're going to face in a game. So it might be a shot stopping session, but creating the chaos. But it's giving them the detail of why I'm doing the chaos, not just we'll throw this down, throw that down, put that in. You're doing it for a reason. Why are we doing that? And we'll bring the young goalies in as well. And you know, I love it. I love getting on the grass. I love doing the work.
The level in that is in the detail, though. If you know in the opposition score 60% of their goals from cutbacks, so then that week you're focusing majority on cutbacks. And the first team keeper is. Subliminally on that Saturday goes into the game thinking, I feel great from cutbacks.
And then when we go in with the team, my goalies are always involved with the team. It's not just isolated over there. Obviously, you have to do that, and you do that, and I like that. But also, I'm big with our gaffer and the staff. He's like, you go in and you work with the team. Shape, patterns, what to expect, set pieces, etc. It's good. I love it.
Hi guys, I'm thrilled to share something with you today. The Mito Pro 300 from Mito Red Light Therapy. Been a game changer. As an athlete, I know the importance of peak performance and recovery, and that's why I rely on the Mito Pro 300 for its unparalleled benefits. Let's dive in to what makes the Mito Pro 300 remarkable. First off, it's all about power, and this device offers 300 red and near infrared light benefits. These wavelengths penetrate deep into your cells, helping to jumpstart the natural process of recovery and rejuvenation. But it's not just about the numbers, it's about results. The Mito Pro 300 is designed for maximum efficiency. It emits light evenly and directly onto your body, ensuring every inch benefits from this therapeutic light. You might be thinking, why should I choose the Mito Pro 300? Simple. It's a game changer in the world of light therapy. The award-winning quad wavelength design, updated with remote control technology. Toggle up and down on the timer, reset unit settings, and operate multiple units with the same remote. If you're dealing with the aches and pains of an active lifestyle, or simply someone looking to improve your overall well-being, the Mito Pro 300 is your solution, and it's versatile. Use it for targeted spot treatments or full body therapy sessions. The choice is yours and the benefits are undeniable. Plus it's easy to use. Just plug it in, set your treatment time and relax. There's no steep learning curve, no complications. With the Mito Pro 300, you're not just investing in a device. You're investing in your health, your well-being and your performance. Don't wait. Discover the incredible benefits of the Mito Pro 300 for yourself. Visit mitoredlight.com and take the first step towards a better you. Hit the link in the description below. Now let's dive back into this episode. But even so, as a goalkeeper coach as well, you're a psychiatrist as well, because you've got to manage so many personalities. I say so many. You've got to manage 4 or 5 personalities closely, haven't you?
Oh yeah. See, listen, when you like, I don't. You never say never, but I don't think I could be a manager because of the. Well, I mean, I've got small groups that I can manage. I'm not saying I wouldn't, and I'm not saying I couldn't, but I love what I do, and I know I'm good at it. So do it to your best of your ability.
But knowing when to pick people up or to then tell them when they're right and wrong.
Yeah, you got to know when to. They need a bit of tough love.
Yep.
You got to know when you're putting to put an arm around them.
Yep.
You know, and I generally just make them feel good every day.
Yep.
Be the best you can be be the best. I say to OG and Wardy and the young goalkeepers, be the best that you can be every day. That's all you can do. Just turn up. All you got to do is turn up. You do your gym work off the pitch, come out on the grass, give me everything you got in the session.
Yep.
And you'll get better and better and better.
Yeah, I genuinely think that knowing that from a goalie coach and starting to do a bit of transition stuff myself is there's so many different days that are important to different goalkeepers. So like on the Monday, the goalkeeper's not playing. You need to give him that love and attention.
Yeah. So they
then go, I tell you what, this week I'm really going to kick on again and I'm going to drive and I'm going to compete.
Yeah, it's important.
You knowing how to manage that.
Yeah, 100% Trump. Like what it is you've got to make them feel just as good as the number one. It's obviously number one if you're playing. It's easier to manage.
Yes.
But your number two, who feels he's always going to feel it, he wants to play.
Yep.
He should be playing. But if your number one's doing well, you're doing your job.
Yep.
But then I'll go, right, I've got to keep that dynamic right in the group.
Yep.
Otherwise, I've never really had it. Not really had it where it's been toxic. I just try and generate that. I can't have it that way. Otherwise, see you later.
Well, obviously you're loud and enthusiastic anyway, so it would be hard for someone to be negative around it because it becomes more noticeable anyway.
Yeah,
because they would be like the dark cloud in the group, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and I'd sense it as well. Yes. And I like listen. There's going to be days where people are a little bit like, but I just think if I come in and I've got energy. You give me it back. I'm going to them. I'd love to join in. Yeah. And every now and then I go on and give me a set of hands. I'm thinking, I ain't done that for ages. And if I don't drop it, they're like, what? You got.
No, exactly.
It just shows them, like, you know, I'm big on trying to stay fit. So you look the part still, and it transpires to them.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you have much involvement in keeping your goalkeepers fit? You know, like the gym work and that. Or do you rely heavily on the sports scientists and stuff like that?
I don't go in and do with them, but I'm on them. But I trust them.
Yeah.
So they've got their own gym programs. They've got goalie programs. OG and Wardy, for instance, who are my goalies now, they're great lads. I mean, Wardy lives in the gym.
Yeah.
Like he's like, it's mental. And OG's got his program that he brought with him from Crystal Palace. Spoke to him about it. Spoke to our sports scientist Chris, and they're all good with it. So yeah, I just always every time they do the weights, the body fats, things like that. I like to be involved with it all, but I don't go in and do it with them.
No, exactly. Yeah.
That's me giving them trust. I don't have to hover around the gym and make sure they're doing it.
That's the worst when you get people.
You've got to give them, trust them, and I'll know by the work I do on the training ground.
That's the thing. You can see it.
Yeah. So they're good.
How's goalkeeping changed then over the years?
God, just a bit. What it's all about. It fries my head when someone says, when you're talking and you're inquiring about a goalkeeper, or they're asking me, and the first question is, can I play with a feet?
Can you play, yeah.
And my question is, can I keep goal?
Yeah.
Can I keep the ball out of the net? Right. We can work on the rest.
Yeah.
And I understand it and I get it, because that's how the game's evolved. A lot of teams now, they build from the goalkeeper, as you can see. At all levels, there's a few teams in our league now, and obviously in your league, and obviously Championship and Premiership. So, yeah, but first and foremost, be a goalkeeper.
That's where, I'm still watching it now, and there's so much risk and reward from playing out from the back that you see, these short goal kicks. Goalkeepers not even taking them anymore, but they're getting passed to, and there are instances where it looks unbelievable, but then when it goes wrong, all the blame's always put on the goalkeeper. But that's where over the last 5-10 years, we used to just be shot stoppers, didn't we? We'd keep the ball out of the net.
Goalkeepers.
But they wanted us to keep a quiet net. I was always like the Dave Seaman school of goalkeeping. And you weren't even allowed to dive if it went wide, because it gave encouragement.
Yeah.
So you was told to keep a quiet goal. Everything had to be neat and tidy. But now it's like you're this all-action hero that's playing centre midfield with gloves on.
Yeah. But they've become that extra centre half, haven't they, now in this day and age? And that's not a bad thing, but I always go, right, has he got good hands? Is he good size? What's his physicality like? Is he speed? Can he move around the goal? Is he dynamic?
Yeah.
Can he make the saves that other goalies can't? I want to know about that.
Yeah.
Not distribution. Listen, they've got to be good distributors first and foremost, but keep goal, be a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
and enjoy being a goalie.
Even the art of communication is a dying art now for goalkeeping. It's free, it's cheap, it's
yeah.
it's
I was
easy.
a vocal, as you probably know. I was a vocal goalkeeper, but now they're not. You don't come across many like that now. No. He was one. Rambo was a vocal.
Yep.
At such a young age.
Yep.
Kingy was vocal. Kells was vocal. Longy was really vocal.
Yeah, Longy was. Yeah.
And then you got
he had that deep Yorkshire voice though.
Yeah,
people listened to it, didn't they?
Yeah. Shazer, he was a calm goalkeeper.
Yep.
Neat, tidy, calm
Dave Seaman
goalkeeper.
scored a goal kick. Alex Welsh, isn't it?
Yeah. Alex Bass was a calm goalkeeper.
Yep.
Tans was quite a vocal goalkeeper. OG's really laid back, calm.
Yep.
But I've been coaching that into him about being vocal.
Yep.
Wardy's vocal.
Yep.
Which he can pick up on that. So, yeah.
See, like you're mentioning all those goalkeepers there, right? And they're all slightly different, all got their own attributes, physicality-wise.
Yeah.
Then to coach that different aspects of games, and you were a different type of goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So how do you find that level of they can make saves I couldn't, but I still need to be able to coach them and then...
Yeah. Well, what I try and do is, obviously I know them when they're coming in the building. So I try and recognise their strengths.
Yep.
Do loads of what they like.
Yep.
But also work on their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Without them, without going to them, I think you need to do more of this. So if you're not the big physical imposing goalkeeper, and I'm going to do a lot more on crossing and
focus
physicality,
a bit more on that.
More than that, then if you're really sharp and speed and you can make the worldie saves. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's like that, and then the technical element. I'm massive on the basics. Every day we do basic work.
Yep.
Everything's basic. Stand in a goal, bag a ball. You can do that. And that's what our match prep session be. Master the basics. Hands, cup, scoop, low dive, high dive.
As many ball touches as possible, yeah.
It's not rocket science.
No, it's not, no.
Yeah.
But then, like you're saying, the other aspect, getting them involved with the outfield players when they need to be able to develop and play out from the back, and getting them involved in possession drills and rondos, and that's really important now. Where when we would have came through, we weren't allowed to because we'd have spoiled a session.
Yeah. Well, our gaffer and the staff, they include the goalies as much as they can in the team possession games and everything like that, because I just think it's important. If they're not so clever with their feet, then that's why. I was trying to show OG about if he's playing Saturday, Tuesday, and he's kicking load. I was saying, this is your kicking load, so you're not going to do loads of kicking sessions through the week.
Yep.
We can top up. You can do bits and pieces here and there. Whereas where Wardy's not in the team at the minute, he's able to go and do a bit more work on his kicking.
Of course, yeah.
And I'm trying to being a young one, and he's bought into that, and he's realising. And I said, how do you feel when you're going into a game? He said, I feel fresh. So there you go. So use them sessions with the team and the possession-based sessions to do your distribution.
Yeah, to get out of it what you need.
Because I feel like that takes up your time.
Yep.
you know. But I'm big on that. We get out before the team and get our work done when they're fresh.
Yep. Obviously, like going out early and being the first on the pitch and the last on the pitch has always been a goalkeeper thing.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have that time alone to focus on those little bits because of the extra requirements now that are put on you.
Yeah, massively. And I think it's like, and I'm not saying like we go out hours before. Like if the team is starting, so I'm gonna say if the team is starting 11, I'll get out on the grass I'll be down there and set up everything. So when they walk on, it's all ready. We'll go at 10:20.
Yep.
We'll do a warm up. And then we go into our work, and then we're in with the group at like straight after their warm up. So like they're good, they're ready to go. It's not like throttling them, but the intensity is always there.
You've got your 30 minutes of goalkeeping working before.
I always even get you 45 in.
Yep.
And that's with your warm up. But I always make sure I say, listen, your job is to be ready when you step on that grass. You're ready to go.
Yes.
Not you got to do a warm up. You got to do this.
Yeah.
All that's
activation
done.
stuff.
Yeah, they do all that.
Yeah.
And then bang, they're straight into it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where do you see goalkeeping going next? Then obviously we've had this transition period from where we kept goal and then we had the Manuel Neuers and the Reese that played high and now we've got the ultimate ball playing goalkeeper. What's next for us?
I just think it's evolving all the time.
Yeah.
Every season something different. So you know, like you're just saying there about they're not actually taking the goal kick now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of teams are doing that.
Yeah,
now,
a lot of them are.
As an example.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't like to say it's just evolving all the time.
Because the way we create the goalkeepers now are creating the overload in possession drill is incredible in games. When you do see a goalkeeper that's comfortable to step into almost centre half.
I mean, I think that's it. You got to have a goalkeeper that is comfortable doing it. There's no point in, and that's a big thing on the recruiting. I mean, I know what my manager wants. Like we've got to be able to play and be comfortable with the ball at your feet, but you've also got to be able to hit good long distance balls. Do you know what I mean?
Of course. I do love. I came through at Arsenal, obviously, and we were taught to just give it to the good players and play out.
Yeah.
So but then as soon as I went out on loan, and it was like, we've got to win. Can you kick it? And then I was like, I better work on my kicking. So then I went up to Scotland and I started booming it. And
you could boom. I remember you at Bolton.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I end up. I can't remember who it was, but like I end up learning my own technique of I'd try and kick a ball like I was hitting a golf ball. So if it was behind me, I'd hit a draw. If it was in front of me, I'd hit a fade. And I just developed how to use my levers. So I stand really upright when I kick the ball. Yeah. And I was speaking to Callum Burton about this the other day, our number 2, and he bends really low, like Ben and Jack Hannock do. And they've got a really bent leg on their standing leg. And I'm like, such a different technique. So then I've been trying to do that, and I'm like, you work out your own technique works for you, but you've got to learn all the sides of it.
I was similar to you really. Like it was just like, especially when you're on a Tuesday night, blowing a gale, rain, everything, and you got to drill that ball against the wind. Like you've got to be able to compress it and drill it against it. But it's going back to where it's going. I just think it's evolving all the time.
Yep.
There's always something new coming up, and you've got to be able to adapt to that.
Yeah,
and that's the thing as a coach. That'd be the biggest thing for you. Going into that is like your adaptability.
Yep.
So different managers like different things.
Yeah.
You've got to be. I've learned that over the years, like with different managers coming in, like just adaptability.
Yeah.
You know, and don't take things too personal.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
When I was playing as player coach, I took it bad.
Yep.
Couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with it. And then you just, you know, it's like the old school. Like you sit on the bench, you're the goalie coach. What's he doing there? Turning around. What's he doing there? But now I'm here, no problem.
Yeah.
You know,
I've always wanted to know this because
don't bother me.
Every time a goalkeeper does something in a game, the whole bench always to the number 2 or to the goalie coach go, what's he doing there?
Yeah.
And you have to.
It's just and my first few years I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Don't take it personal. Don't take it. And then like when I transitioned from player coach to full-time coach, I sort of over the years started like, don't get me wrong, if they make a mistake, it hurts, but I don't take it personal. I go, right, he needs me.
Yep.
And my big thing is as well, talking of that, is if anything does happen, I've got this thing where they know I've got their back. So half time, they'll always see a smiley face.
Yeah.
Winning, losing, drawing, made a mistake, game's going well.
Little pat on the back.
Little pat on the back, right? Just the little
going.
pointers, right? In you go. Not loads of stuff. And at the end of the game, always make sure I'm the first one there.
Check
Grit
in
them
with
around,
them,
give you a smile. I've got their back. And they need to know that. And I think that's how you create that bond and that trust.
Yeah. It's so important though that like a goalkeeper feels that the goalkeeping coach is working for them and not for the manager or the club at times because you need to have that close relationship. There's trust and it's just trust.
It massively. And again, I go back to, if you've got that trust between you, you can have an honest conversation.
Yeah.
If you haven't got that trust, when you got to have the difficult conversations, they're not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But I am, because I know that I've given you everything and I've created that dynamic in the group that, you know, when I've got to give you the difficult conversation, you've got to be comfortable with it. You know, and so far it's been all right.
Yeah, doing all right.
Yeah, doing all right,
yeah.
Doing all right, mate.
Right, let's do some a little bit of geeky stuff on the gloves and stuff like that, right? Because I know that you're a big enthusiast anyway. So we can do this from two aspects. You can give both opinions. What do you look for in gloves?
When I was playing, or as a coach?
When you was playing.
When I was playing, I didn't like thick palm.
Yeah.
And I love roll fingers.
Yeah.
Not flat palm. Didn't feel like I was gripping the ball. I liked a 3mm palm. I liked it tight.
Yeah.
Roll fingers.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Simple as that. As a coach, anything that's hard wearing.
Yeah.
But I'm with one glove. Miles sends me stuff over. So I wear anything as a coach.
Yeah.
Don't bother me.
Yeah.
As a player, I was.
Do you think it's important as a coach to have gloves on?
Yeah, you're a goalie coach.
You're a goalie coach, yeah. It distinguishes you. It makes you feel special, doesn't it? Yeah, I like it.
Oh no, I couldn't coach and not have gloves on.
Yeah.
That's not me. It's not the way I am.
Yeah.
Every coach has got their own style and their own ways and what they think. But I just believe I'm a goalie coach and wearing gloves.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's you're a goalie coach.
What gloves did you wear then as a player?
Oh, I think I've worn them.
Every single one of these.
I've worn them all.
Including these.
Yeah, I had them first ever gloves. I've had Sondicos. I've had Royce, Eurosport, Nike,
Yeah.
Cell Sport, Cells, Pro GK I was with for ages with Jono. And then I've been with Miles for the last 5 years.
Yep.
He's been brilliant.
Yep.
The range is unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, I went through one stage, me and Chris Day was on about doing our own glove, but the market, it was just mental. So I went with Glenn and helped him for many years. And then I was running coaching schools here, there and everywhere. And I needed kids' gloves, and that was the only reason sort of I left him. And then Miles has been different class. Can't speak highly enough of him.
Yeah. That's Miles at the one glove, just so everyone.
Miles at one glove. No, brilliant.
Yeah, and so as a coach, then, how much do you put into like advising what gloves people should wear? Because obviously we're saying every goalkeeper's different, and it's about feel, comfort, and confidence.
Yeah.
But you know, like if you've got an 18-year-old goalkeeper that's coming through a youth team and he's turning up with dirty gloves that are worn to shreds, it's a big pet peeve.
I hate dirty gloves. I hate dirty boots. I hate dirty kit.
Yeah.
If you step out, well, it don't happen.
Yeah.
That's one of my rules.
Yeah.
Clean gloves, look good, feel good. I've always said that to the goalies.
Look good, play the part, innit? Yeah.
Play good. There you go.
So in that, you know, like obviously young goalkeepers do struggle to get gloves as much as they need. How, obviously, you can speak to the first team goalkeepers or brands, and you can try and be as proactive, but it's another string to your bow. It's hard because you're trying to do everything else that the goalkeeper coach has got to do, but you're also trying to father some of them and teach them these sort of aspects.
It's personal.
Yeah.
Personal gloves for me. It's the same with their kit. You know, I'll always have chats with them because when they were both signing, I was like, what's the kits and this, that, and I know what's 3 new ones this year. And then they got an issue with the collar and, we don't like collar. I went, well, that's, that's another sort of like with a kit man. OG wears one glove and Wardy wears glove glue.
Yep.
So Wardy's very much like me, likes a roll finger.
Yep.
Whereas OG likes, he wears the same glove as me, but he has like 2 flat with 2 negs.
Yes.
I think it's
a hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, like the hybrid ones. Where I'm like, I'll wear anything now as a coach.
Yeah, of course.
But when I was playing, I loved roll fingers.
Yeah.
Just loved them.
Just a comfort.
I remember
aspect.
the first.
But then that's because you maybe like the thinner latex anyway. So then if you had a 4mm and a roll finger, it'd have been too thick.
Yeah, I just couldn't. Like, it's different as a coach. I don't wear any mil. But when I played, I liked the good feel of the ball.
Yep.
3mm, nice and tight. Even gone up in sizes as a coach because you've taken them on and off all the time. But I think the first ever roll finger I had was a Royce Serie A.
Yeah, nice.
Like not elastic on the cuff, but like a strap. And I just went, oh my word.
Yeah.
And then from then on, nothing.
Yeah.
I think Mitre did me, like I was with Mitre for a few years.
Yeah.
And they did a glove where it was like, I think, Big Sully at Spurs at the time. He had, do you remember the Mitre one with the big silver mitre down there? He wore the flat palm and I went, have you not got roll finger? I think me and Andy Woodman, he was at Brentford at the time, we was wearing mitre.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good glove as well. Yeah,
the old mitre,
the old mitre.
Sondicos as well.
Yeah, Sondicos. They've
all
gone.
These brands used to make gloves. Yeah,
you know, the markets. Well, look,
there's so many now.
It's just
even Umbro gloves had a good spell for a bit.
Yeah, Umbro. Joe Hart wearing the Umbro.
Yeah, Paul Robinson did for a bit.
Yeah, Paul Robinson, David James.
Yeah, there's a few that went through that spell, and they'd do like the England ones.
And I had them as a kid when Bruce Grobbelaar was wearing the fluorescent ones.
Yeah. Do you obviously you've got your own preference in gloves, but you know, like you're watching an 18-year-old catch a ball, do you ever think, should I ask him what gloves he's wearing? Or do you anyway? But you know, like a different change of cut could potentially change the way he catches a ball.
I do. But I feel that's part of my job. Like, what gloves you wearing?
Yeah.
Oh, why's that then?
Yeah. And finding out.
And I try and get them all in like what I wear. And they'll try mine out. And, you know, I just take interest in their kit, how they look, their boots. Yeah. You know, all the goalies have been good to me. Like, always looked
after you for boots and stuff like that.
You know.
Yeah. Well, see, and I want to get to it, but the conditions, coaching how to play in different conditions is such a skill. Yeah. So like we were saying earlier on about kicking into the wind. So I've been trying to teach Arthur this year not to kick directly into the wind, but to kick across the wind, because you can actually get more distance. Yeah. The ball doesn't hold up. Although sometimes it comes off at the end, but you can still kick across a wind a lot better than you can through it.
Yeah, and it's a technique to that.
And it's a technique.
And like you say, that's a good coaching point. Well done, mate.
Could do this for a living.
Yeah, mate. That's good. Conditions play a part. Like you playing with the wind, playing against the wind. So your technique. So sometimes, like if we go out to a game, we're doing a warm up. I'll go and stand on the halfway line and just hit a few against the wind if you've got the wind, or vice versa. Yeah. Just so if you do spin round, it's not foreign to you.
Yep. Because it also depends on the technique of the goalkeeper. Because I kick a low ball flight but long, but then like other keepers will kick it really high, which will hold up more in the wind. So you have to then coach them to play in conditions for that.
A lot of that comes down to your non-kicking foot. You know.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Getting alongside it, low trajectory, and compress the ball.
Yep.
So conditions, but that's part of your role as a coach.
Yeah, exactly, because even like coaching in when it's wet out and you're still trying to teach them the right things to catch or parry and
I like getting out on the training ground when it's wet.
So good, isn't it?
Done it, mate. Apart from like when you go out pre-season, it's dry and you know as much as you put the water on, it dries out.
It just dries out instantly.
As soon as it's like wet and rain, I'm like that. Yes, training ground.
Yeah, it's the best as a goalkeeper. That's all we've ever wanted is to dive around like we were saying before in the mud, get wet. Yeah. That's what goalkeeping's all about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, right, finally, I always ask this, Vesa. It's been classist, by the way. What does a goalkeepers' union mean to you?
Respect, togetherness, honesty, and just like genuine. The biggest thing is probably the respect. Like everyone in the, as you call it, the goalkeeping union knows the role. Yeah. Whether you're number 1, 2, or 3, and I don't like to go number 1, 2, or 3, but know your role and respect it. And back the others, so that when you do eventually play, whoever it is, So I'd say, them 3 for me.
Yeah, it's most important, mate. This has been an unbelievable episode. I'd love to carry it on for more. Thank you, Bezo, for coming in. By the way, that's been unbelievable. I need to say a massive shout out to our sponsors. They really do help the podcast. This has been the Yours Mine Away podcast with me, Mark Howard. Thanks a lot, guys.